Yo guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about World at War cut content. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. So first we're going to mention weapons, where we have the Bren, the Lee Enfield, and the Stem, which were all cut from the game. British things being cut is quite a theme in this video, so there you go. Also the PPS-43, which is a direct copy from the CoD 2 version. The PMD-6, which is a Soviet Bouncer Betty, which was probably replaced by the Bouncer Betty. Potatoes were cut. If I had to guess, it's a direct port from CoD 2 once again, because I know potatoes were in that game. Next, the Luger P08, which, like the PPS-43, is just ported right from CoD 2. And finally, the Grease Gun, which was cut quite early into development. Perks next, where there are 3, although one is for zombies, but I thought I'd mention it here. The first one is a vehicle perk called Magic Wrench. The second, a perk called Commanding Squad Leader, which was a squad perk. And finally, a perk of Cola called Ammomatic, which would have made getting ammo easier. I guess it might be like Scavenger or something, I have no idea. Right, attachments now, where there isn't actually too much to report, similar to CoD 4. I don't know whether or not this one's actually really a attachment, but I just thought I'd mention it. Select Fire. Select Fire was meant to be in the game and comes for a few animations for the bar and STG-44. Please note there's also a file for the Thompson, but the file is empty. And there was also only one cut game mode, which was Tank War, which was Team Deathmatch with tanks. Simple as, really. Right, next there would have been a 4th kill streak depending on your faction. Now, if you were in the US Marine Raiders, you would get a B-17 Flying Fortress. If you were in the Red Army, you'd get the Katyusha rocket truck. If you were the Japanese, you'd get kamikazes. And finally, if you were the Wehrmacht, you would get the FW-200 Condor, which would carpet bomb. If I had to guess why these were cut, I would say that some of these, especially stuff like the B-17, which I would guess would be work like an AC-130, would be a lot better than others. But I can't deny the idea of hundreds of planes just crashing into the ground is quite funny. And finally, cut multiplayer maps. So there's quite a lot actually. So here's the list in no particular order: Grave, Garden, Sandtrap, Trenches, Casino, Broadside, Lagoon, Struggle, Atoll, Beachhead, Carrier, Cavern, Docks, Subway, Wetlands, Invasion, Encampment, Boughton, Rocks, St. Just, I think that's how it says, Square, Storm, Street, and Chillin', that's the actual name by the way, and Clutter. Next, campaign, where, as I alluded to earlier, there was a cut British campaign which would have contained, at least from what we know, a prologue, at least 3 missions that would have taken place in the Netherlands, another 3 in the Rhineland, and a training mission. There also would have been 2 extra missions in the Berlin part of the campaign. The first one, which is referred to in the files as Ber 1B, which would have taken place between the missions Ring of Steel and Eviction. And the second one, referred to as Ber 2B, which would have taken place between the missions Eviction and Heart of the Reich, which in my opinion is one of the hardest CoD missions ever, but that might just be me. After that, there is cut enemies, where we've only got 2 to report. First, the Fallschirmjäger, who are German paratroopers. These would have been in the British Netherlands part of the campaign, and the Volkssturm, which were a German home guard type force, which was made up mostly of children and old men, but mostly old men. These would have likely featured in the Berlin part. Finally, on the campaign front, changes to existing missions where there isn't actually too much to report, and they're all in the same mission, which is Semper Fi, which is the first one. First, a few audio files suggest that there would have been a 3rd POW in the opening scene. He would also have been rescued along with Miller, who is you, by the way. Second, in the Wii version's instruction manual, there was an image that depicts the pause menu, which has an unused objective that reads "Secure the village." And third, and finally, there is an unused radar and plane parts health indicators for some reason. Next, zombies. Now, there isn't actually that much for zombies, but we know there was going to be a 4th DLC pack, which would have had 3 new maps in it. Now, these maps weren't released because of the proximity to the release of MW2. These maps were Theatre, which eventually became Kino der Toten, Coast, which became Call of the Dead, and finally Paris, which was completely reworked into the map Moon. I think this is fairly well known, so I won't really go into much detail. And finally, reused content and vehicles. I thought I'd throw these together because there isn't too much content, so I thought, to pad out the segment a little bit more. So first, the vehicles. So we have the M8 Greyhound, the Nashorn, the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 222, the Type 1 Hokie, the Type 97, the M4 Sherman, and also the Sherman, Panther tank, and the Hawk 1A would have had a winter camo. Reuse content now. So we have a few AI cover animations which are loaded into the game despite being replaced by the CoD 4 cover animation. A few static models for the BMW R75 and the Harley from CoD 3. There is a destroyed M4 Sherman from CoD 3. There is also an unused Kubelwagen from CoD 2. And finally, the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251 winter and a rocket version. Just think about, called the Panzerwerfer. Think about it as if it's like a German Katyusha, are also on the mod tools. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought. And yeah, bye.